Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence has become one of the most controversial matchups in boxing history without the fight ever taking place. As a matter of fact, at the current time, it is questionable whether the most anticipated undisputed matchup of the last decade will even take place. All signs were pointing to Errol Spence completing a final title attempt at 147 after a succession of turbulent yet triumphant years chasing champions and collecting belts. The last piece of the puzzle was the WBO title, which Terrence "Bud" Crawford had been holding on to for half a decade. The fight was all but made, and then it started to come apart at the seams. Suddenly, a promotional company that no one ever heard of was able to derail the biggest fight in history. Or was it all planned by one of the fighters? After a mysterious chance meeting with the well-known boxing commentary YouTuber at the 7-Eleven, history was derailed. This is an analysis of what exactly went wrong, or right depending on what side of the cover-up you were on. This is Insidious, Backdoor Blue, and the BLK Prime Finesse. Blue Blood Sports TV is a YouTube channel which discusses current events and breaking news in the sport of boxing. Blue Blood, the proprietor, is known and respected throughout the boxing community for his tireless work effort and information log delivery. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. And today, we have current WBO champion, former undisputed junior welterweight champion, former 3-division champion. He weighs in at 147 pounds with a 74-inch arm reach, black hair, brown eyes, a mole on his left butt cheek. He has asthma and a peanut allergy. He drives a 2022 Honda CR-V with 200 miles, and it needs an oil change and 50 more miles. His credit card number is 5627-6129-8726-8779, and the CVC is 376. He fought it twice on Wednesday, and his favorite color is blue. Terrence "Bud" Crawford. But his unique, convoluted style and constant flow of information made him a go-to for breaking news. That remained the case with regard to new information about the undisputed matchup between Errol Spence Jr. and Bud Crawford. Blue reported on the fight from two objective standpoints, boxing as a sport and as a business. He made sure to distinguish the way the two were connected but at times mutually exclusive. This was important in regards to the Spence-Crawford matchup because there were questions about the purse split being about who was the bigger star versus who was more accomplished. Blue is often seen as pro-Spence because he was in agreement that Spence was clearly the bigger star for all business intents and purposes.
And as far as it goes with Bernard Hopkins saying that Terrence Crawford has fought the better level of opposition, well, how could that be when we saw that Terrence Crawford's biggest fight and the biggest win in his career is when he stopped two-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Sean Porter, who's retired and a future Hall of Famer, in his very last fight, November 20th of 2021. And he dropped him twice in the 10th round, got the stoppage, but Sean Porter, father Kenny Porter, father trainer and manager, waved the white towel, said he saw enough. Well, Errol Spence beat Sean Porter in 2019 in a unification bout. But he beat him for a unification bout on pay-per-view that did 325,000 pay-per-view buys 2 years ago. And Terrence Crawford, that's the biggest win in his career, and he beat him in 2021 on pay-per-view, and it wasn't as successful as Errol Spence's fight with Sean Porter. Sean Porter, Errol Spence did 325,000 pay-per-view buys in Los Angeles, California, at the Staples Center that was sold out. Terrence Crawford did 140,000 pay-per-view buys in a non-title fight on the biggest sporting platform in the world, in ESPN. And that's the biggest fight of his career. So how could he be fighting at a higher level when he fought 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Mikey Garcia, and it did 350,000 pay-per-views. Mikey Garcia is the 4th-division champion, first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a bigger name than anybody on Terrence Crawford's resume not named Sean Porter. Now, you look at Amir Khan, the other big name on Terrence Crawford's resume. Well, Errol Spence, he fought and beat 2-division world champion Puerto Rican superstar boxer Danny Swift Garcia, coming off a 14-month layoffs after suffering a horrific car accident just 12 days after unifying against Sean Porter. And Danny Garcia knocked out Amir Khan. But the Terrence Crawford that fought Igor Kavalakis, Jose Benavidez Jr., they don't pan out. So now the other guy on the record is Kell Brook. Well, Errol Spence went to the UK for his first title opportunity. He went to the UK and beat Kell Brook in the UK for his first title opportunity and stopped Kell Brook in front of 40 to 50,000 screaming fans in the UK that was throwing brownies at Errol Spence. Terrence Crawford fights Kell Brook 3.5 years later in the United States on his home soil with no fans in attendance because he's dealing with the global pandemic. Completely different level of opposition, but
with the numbers to prove it. Crawford may have had the accolades, fighting in different divisions, having come up from the lower weight classes. However, while boxing may be a business in the sport, it is not a meritocracy. You do not get paid for collecting belts, you just get belts.
I think that Errol Spence is more, yes, he puts up a lot of cryptic messages, but it's pretty, they're cryptic, but they're pretty direct. You know exactly who and what and how he's talking about, right? So I don't get from that I think that Errol Spence would have, you know, made it clear that it's a career change or a career move or, you know, a legacy move or something of that nature. Because when the PBC Premier Boxing Champions put up a post about Errol Spence possibly fighting Keith Thurman in a poll, he immediately responded on that post and he said, PBC, he made sure he made it clear he was talking to the PBC and the PBC needed to take the L out of Lover, meaning it's over. It ain't happening with him and Keith Thurman. So I highly doubt that Errol Spence would have had a hard time making it clear that, you know, he's moving on from the Terrence Crawford fight or moving on from PBC. When he was asked about making the Terrence Crawford fight, Errol Spence, he stated, I want this fight. This is the fight I want. And if it don't happen, it's not my fault. It ain't on me. So he made it abundantly clear who it would be on. If the fight didn't come to fruition, he made it really clear it ain't his side. So there's only one other side, and it would be Terrence Crawford's side, right?
In August, towards the end of the summer of 2022, something insidious started happening on Blue's channel, and many of his followers started to take notice. The consistency in his stance on the split was thrown right out the window, and he started to give what was said to be definitive information on the fight status.
But a fight of this magnitude, when you have two American fighters at the height of their careers, at the height of their game, considered both top, you know, 3 top 5 for sure, pound for pound best fighters in the world. And one is born in New York and raised in Dallas, Texas, and the other one is born in America and raised in Omaha, Nebraska. And then you take those fighters overseas, you know, that's, you know, if it was still prime time, if the fight still happened at, you know, 10 o'clock here in the States, I think it would be more than doable, right? But the time, if a fight of this magnitude happens at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that's a problem. And you know, these investment groups in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, or wherever, is willing to put up the big money. And the fight gonna happen at 6 in the evening here. Who's not gonna support it? Westside, what's going on? Dub IP, what's going on? This quote unquote prime time hours. NFL be having game of the weeks at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You can learn from other sports. It don't lose no luster. It don't lose its audience. Frank Enterprise, what's going on? It don't lose its audience. It don't lose no luster. It don't lose none of that.
Not only that, but he started to oddly praise Terrence Crawford as the one making the fight happen and giving seemingly detailed information from Crawford's side of negotiations. At this time, however, he did not disclose any mutual business interests or contact with Crawford's team.
You're gonna get some news today. Did I not tell you that, bitch? My brother bitch texted me last night. He said, Blue, what's going on? I said, you're gonna get some news tomorrow. See, so y'all be thinking Blue don't be knowing. No, but I be knowing. I just can't tell you guys everything. So my brother bitch, he said, what's going on, Blue? I need to know. I said, tomorrow, bitch, I will let you know. You will know for sure.
So Terrence Crawford did what everybody was asking him to do. Sylvester Solomon 2011, what's going on? Trey, what's going on? He did what everybody was asking him to do. He took a lesser split. He also is betting on himself. You understand? He's betting on himself. Terrence Crawford is.
But that was the dilemma for his Finesse. He could not reveal his sources, so he was having difficulty getting intelligent people to believe his narrative, mainly because it was contrary to his previous videos and he had no proof by his own standards. He was attempting to turn his audience on to the falsification that Crawford did his part, even though no fight was announced.
So Terrence Crawford did what we've been asking him to do. He is who we thought he is. He's a dog. Now, I don't agree with the terms because I think he's worth more. Man, you see they're saying Terrence Crawford agreed and he bring out all the people. All the people. Chris Wells, what's going on?
In hindsight, Blue was running interference. He was attempting to garner praise for Crawford and convince people that Crawford alone 100% signed the contract.
Terrence Crawford has accepted everything to get a deal done because he is convinced that he's going to be the victor. He stated this in the interview. He said that if you're confident and you believe in your abilities and you think that you can win, well, then you will accept whatever is being offered to you. And he lived up to it, okay? He lived up to it because now Terrence Crawford has accepted to be the B-side even in a rematch. He's accepted a 65-35 split. No guaranteed money, okay? Terrence Crawford has went above and beyond to secure this fight. And I can do nothing but tip my hat to him. Now, as far as business, no guarantee money on the back end. No 65-35 split. Everybody was raving and talking about Terrence Crawford doing a 60-40 split in favor of Errol Spence. He took even less than that. He's doing a 65-35. I said it suffice for Errol Spence to give him a 60-40 split in favor of Errol Spence because the numbers just don't lie. The numbers that Errol Spence do, it just don't lie. It tells the truth. Well, Terrence Crawford decided that he was going to take even less than that. And he took a 65-35 split in favor of Errol Spence because this is just how...
In Blue's narrative, that alone should have exonerated Crawford from all criticism so that whatever happens next was not on Crawford, because what happened next would derail boxing history and divide the whole YouTube boxing community. By September, Blue seemed to change his tune completely. He started offering unsolicited insider information about the fight that no one else knew, and under no pressure from his audience either way. However, the rhetoric took an insidious twist, and unfortunately for Blue, his audience noticed. Around September 9th, he started to mention ominous things about the purse being the dividing factor and foreign interest groups being involved. This appeared to be just speculative analysis, but in hindsight and given the timeline of the preceding events, this was him doing damage control for Team Crawford, who he was already in contact with to receive the information. This was also him facilitating the big lie, which is the single factor that blew his credibility, but we'll get to that in a sec. September 15th, he teased big news about the Crawford fight. It was, you guessed it, the big fight date. But the twist in his rhetoric was noticeable. It went from enthusiasm about the fight being finalized in general to emphasizing Bud Crawford is making this fight happen and deserves credit simply for accepting the offer.
Terrence Crawford and his team are trying to get out ahead of it. They're the ones trying to, control the narrative as they supposed to. Errol Spence, if he was to sign first, he's supposed to get out there and try to control the narrative himself as he's supposed to. That's what you're supposed to do. Victor Torres, what's going on? Remember, Shakur Stevenson immediately signed his portion of the contract to fight Oscar Valdez. And then it took Oscar Valdez, a week, 2 weeks? Shakur Stevenson went on a campaign. Shakur Stevenson was going on all types of different platforms like, hey, this dude is dragging his feet. Oscar Valdez don't want to sign. Gertz, what's going on?
He really needed us to believe that singular point to set up damage control for when the truth came out. There was no details, just a guarantee to his audience that Bud agreed to everything. That's why I believe early as this time, Blue and Bud were already working on the BLK fight deal. The supposedly inside information he gave on September 15 had definitely taken on a Crawford-centric tone. Any speculation whether he was attempting to skew his fans' frustrations about the delay to Errol Spence and away from Crawford were completely blown out of the water. The following day, when he turned up the temperature on his big lie, he tweaked the rhetoric in order to get the desired effect out of manipulating his audience. People simply accepting and or believing the fight was made was not the real point. The goal was to push Team Crawford's attached narrative as him being the only one willing to do anything to make the fight happen, because it in fact was not happening. They already had other plans. The following day, September 16th, Blue was in hindsight secretly and obviously peddling that info for Team Crawford. However, he was not getting the desired effect of garnering additional support for Crawford and directing animus towards Errol. Blue was forced to add a nonsensical twist to the big lie. He now stated that Crawford signed the contract agreeing to all Errol's terms, but Errol didn't sign his own contract.
They come to Errol Spence with what they have available for Errol Spence just as much as they go to Terrence Crawford. We got $40 million a pot. I'm hypothetically speaking. It's not an actual number because people are going to say, Blue said it was 4. No, I'm hypothetically speaking. If there's a pot, let's say Showtime and PBC say they come up with a pot of $40 million. Let's say it's Fox and PBC and they come up with a pot of $40 million. They're going to take that pot. Okay, Errol, we got a pot of $40 million. Errol say, I want 60-40 split or 65-35, whatever may happen. Okay, Errol's the A side. Terrence, Errol wants a 65-45 split. Is that okay with you? You understand? No, I want, 63, 42. You understand what I'm saying? Something like that. You know what I mean? 63-37. You know what I'm saying? These are the games that are being played. That's all. Third Eye Boxing, brother in the super chat, dropping that half a dub on your boy Blue. I don't know no fighter currently that could endure what Big Fish been through and step into the fight without a tune-up. Win or lose, Errol will always be champion, period. Or once a champion, always a champion, Third Eye Boxing. You know those rules. Once a champion, always a champion. Check the time. What's going on? And salute the Third Eye Boxing, dropping that half a dub on your boy Blue. Paul Kerry.
It was nonsensical by design. Blue was dialing in convoluted non-facts at this point and faking eye-rolling frustration towards valid criticism.
Miss Joette said, okay, can you please explain what's really going on? Because some of us are very confused. There's nothing to be confused about, Queen. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing to be confused about. Just listen to what I'm telling you. Nazaro Watkins, what's going on? There's absolutely nothing to be confused about. It's the same thing that happens with every fight. Not every fighter signs at the same time as the other fighters. Terrence Crawford, this girl loves boxing. Peace and blessings, Queen. How you doing today? Terrence Crawford has confirmed. He's agreed that he's gonna fight for the lower percentage, 65-35 split. Stormy B, man, my brother. Peace and blessings. Go subscribe to my brother Stormy B, man. Tara Sims, what's going on? Stormy dropped the link. Okay. He has confirmed. He's taking a lesser split, no guaranteed money. Okay. He's taking the short end of the stick to secure the fight. Period. There's nothing to be confused about. He wants to fight. He believes in himself. He's confident in himself. So he's going to take the short end of the stick to make the fight happen. Your sources are as real as BBLs. The ones that you're chasing around. Bogus. You chasing around those fake BBLs. How would you even know about them? Why you even know about them? The main ones throwing away your lunch money for those BBLs, though.
He kicked the paying super chat out of his live chat simply for stating there was no actual proof that Bud signed. A simple fact.
Bruce Leroy, brother in super chat. Y'all have no proof that Bud has signed. None. Bruce Leroy, you have no proof.
The audience member didn't understand why stating there was no proof was a personal attack towards Blue.
Bruce Leroy back in the super chat. You're right, I don't. So what are you talking about? Ian Cormier, what's going on? Cinnamon Savage, my brother. Jameson Childress, what's going on? I'm gonna ignore you, Bruce Leroy. Go back in the corner.
Now we know why. Later, Blue and Bud planned to backdoor the fans while they were looking out the front door based on this info, but we'll get to that shortly. His audience reaction to the tweaked version of the big lie ranged from confusion to disbelief. He still wasn't garnering support for Crawford or the unsubstantiated claim, so he chose to strain his credibility even further. Blue needed definite proof. He needed the next best thing to written proof, a verbal agreement. This all happened in what we at MacWorld feel was a planned coincidence, the now infamous 7-Eleven meeting in New Jersey. This is where things get obvious and weird. Approximately a week later, on September 23rd, Blue reports to his audience he just ran into Bud Crawford at a 7-Eleven in New Jersey. The chance run-in seems unlikely, but to call it a meeting is indicative of a business deal. This was truly insidious work. It was important for Blue to push his lit partner Crawford's meritless message about signing everything to his audience and still appear untethered. This is also what leads me to believe that BLK Prime, Blue, and Bud were already working together far before the 7-Eleven meeting. It's practically a smoking gun. The things relayed to Blue at 7-Eleven are verbatim, exactly word for word what Blue had already been painstakingly trying to convince his audience throughout the whole month of September before the 7-Eleven. Now, all the weird behavior throughout September was all starting to make sense. And also now the leaks had a name behind them, a collaborator, Bud Crawford himself.
Literally, right? I didn't even talk to him not even 10 minutes ago. I run into Terrence Crawford. You're saying 007. What's going on? Big Worm. On the mic, my brother Terrence Bailey Sr. My Journey. Timothy Duncan. TC. Underground Asylum. What's going on? I literally, that 7-Eleven I was telling y'all about yesterday, that closed, me and Terrence Crawford literally just ran into each other. He said, Blue, why you always hating on me? Right? He said, I didn't know it was you because you got fake hair. Right? And he said, why you always hating on me, Blue? So I said, listen, Bud, I'm not hating on you. I said that I'm just reporting what I'm being told, the information. I'm just the weatherman, right? And he said, yeah, but it don't be true. What did I say that wasn't true? So he said, where'd you get the information from? I said, now you know I can't tell you that. So he said, but you're not making it up. I said, no, I get it from somebody. So I said, he said, but you get it from somebody. I said, yeah, I get my information from somebody, and you know I can't tell you who I get it from. But I don't hate on you. He said, where you from, Blue? You from Texas? I said, no, I'm from New York. He said, man, I know you like Errol Spence, man, but man, come on, man. So I said, okay, Vulcan Raven, what's going on? I said, I was told, I said, if the things I'm being told is not true, right? If the stuff I'm being told is not true, then what I said about you with you taking less of everything to make the fight happen, what about that? He said, it is true. I took everything, horse's mouth, Scout's honor. And he said, I accept everything. I am the only one trying to make this fight happen, Blue. Just me. And I need you to report that. Mo 2013, KDP's 504, what's going on? Scout's honor. I swear. We was right there. I literally walked. His wife said, now, Blue, go report that. I said, if you tell me, you give me the okay to talk to report on what we just said, what we just talked about, I'll go do it right now.
This 7-Eleven edition to the Big Live featuring Crawford still fell flat. The problem was Crawford is known to contradict himself. Blue's audience was not impressed, and this made Blue panic and take on a weirdo stance of blind faith in Crawford. When asked why he believed Crawford, he stated, "Because he looked me in my eyes."
This is what I believe. I have to believe him at his word. You know why? He didn't blink. He didn't hesitate. He looked me dead in my eyes. Dead in my eyes. And the dude looked me in my eyes and he told me that. He looked me straight in my eyes and he said, "I'm the only one trying to make this fight happen." And he could have easily said, "Errol don't want to make the fight." He didn't say that. That's the thing that led me to believe what Terrence Crawford was saying. For one, he looked me right in my eyes and he didn't give me a reason to feel like he was lying.
Even his own moderators were questioning the blind faith Bud narrative.
Ephraim Dutch was going on. And Terrence Crawford fans are going to be Terrence Crawford fans regardless. So he's not going to get, he could, Warrior 28 was going to revealing the absolute truth about the business. Because at the end of the day, it's about, the business that's preventing it from happening. You understand what I'm saying? If what he's saying holds to be true, then it's just like I told you. Showtime gets a allowance. They was willing to put up $50 million, $100 million for Canelo Alvarez. He said, "What's good, Blue?" He said Crawford was just on the Porterway podcast saying the money had to be right, and now he signed a 65-35 split. I don't know. Because I think that he may have gotten to the point where he realized they ain't going to do the right thing. GG Champ 15, what's going on? Maybe he got to the point where he like, they ain't going to pay me. It ain't going to happen, but I want this fight. Brother Power, what's going on? Charlie Love, brother in the super chat. He said, "It's all love, fam. We just want the fight bad." Agreed.
A visibly nervous Blue gave 9 answers and defaulted back to the Blue switcheroo, which is fake frustration at questions he can't answer. The most damning part of this goofy collusion effort was in the details. He was already laying the groundwork to backdoor his fans and frustratingly blurted out what they needed us to think. Getting questioned, still frustrated, he simultaneously stated that Crawford signed everything, and now immediately before the ink dried, Spence team doesn't want to make the fight he just signed to make.
And that's another reason that leads me to believe that he's telling the truth. Kizzy Hayes, what's going on? Because he didn't say Errol Spence don't want it. He just said Errol Spence team don't want it. He said Errol Spence want it. His team don't want it though. That's exactly what he said. Kimber 4509, what's going on? And I agreed to everything. They ain't trying to make it happen.
Crawford was saying that Spence should be blamed way early, and according to Blue, he is just relaying that message. But why would Blue agree to push that narrative? It was almost as if he was working with Crawford, and that proved to be exactly the case. By October 21st, Bud Crawford stalled out negotiations and killed the projected November 19th fight date. Then it was announced by who else but Blue, Terrence Crawford already had another fight date.
First of all,
How did Terrence Crawford make a whole fight with another fight in promotion no one heard of so quickly? Blue just swore to his audience Bud signed off on everything to make a bigger fight and was just an Errol Spence signature away from finalizing that fight. Fans found it odd the new fight was already done a month before the projected November 19th fight date. This bad news, which Blue wasn't mad about, along with the 7-Eleven meeting and switched tone of his channel, caused people to confront Blue. Frustration with the fight and Blue was reaching a boiling point, and that's when it happened. There was no way Blue could deny he was working with Terrence Crawford as he announced his latest batch of craw-fed information. He also needed to be able to promote his own event, so he revealed his whole hand, that he was part of BLK and negotiating an alternative fight deal.
How did it come to the point where it didn't come to fruition and Terrence Crawford ends up signing with BLK Prime, Blue Buzz Sports TV, and fighting title contender, welterweight, Russian, Armenian star boxer David Avanesian?
There was an immense backlash against Terrence Crawford and Blue, earning them the nicknames from MacWorld, Bad Business Bud, and Backdoor Blue, respectively. Blue's channel became about damage control and gaslighting people to believe he didn't say what he just said or didn't mean what he said the way you took it if he did say it. In a nervous rant on live trying to prove they didn't have the fight planned all along, he revealed that they did by accident.
So I see people saying, how did it happen so fast? This was already planned. No, it was not. We moved like this. Okay? I was in contact with the arenas in Omaha. Right? For about a week and a half now. So we saw opportunity and we was aware. We said we have to move quickly. Right? Because we already in the middle of October. So when people are saying, yes, did we contact Terrence Crawford in due time to give ourselves the opportunity to clear everything, the money, the venue, the dates. These are things that obviously Terrence Crawford and his team had to be made aware of. Do we even have the ability to make this happen? So I was working on arena, and then we were working on opponents. There were times where we were trying to contact Terrence Crawford, see, hey, listen, what's going on? Update, is Errol Spence fight going to happen? And Terrence Crawford would say, either I can't talk to y'all right now, I'm handling this business with Errol Spence, or he would just flat out ghost us, period.
He stated he was shopping for venues for the Terrence Crawford event as early as October 8th, which is 2 weeks after the 7-11 meeting. It made no sense at the time when Blue said Bud signed the contract but immediately doesn't think they want the fight. Now it makes sense. It was damage control for the backdoor deal that would inevitably come to light and make them both look bad. In recent discussion with a prominent boxing talk YouTuber named Money Brown, Blue attacked him out of frustration. Backdoor Blue said, if Crawford beats Spence, what is your content gonna be about?
Money. Imagine Terrence Crawford wins the fight. What are you gonna say? Northside of Dallas is going on. What is your content going to be about? Right? So you're telling the world that Terrence Crawford is a duck. You're telling the world he's never fought nobody. He fought only cherry and tomato cans and X, Y, and Z. He's not good, essentially, is what you're telling the world. Essentially, what you're telling the world is that he's not a good fighter, right? If you're telling the world that he hasn't fought nobody, he refused to fight somebody, he's ducking Errol Spence, and so on and so forth. So if Terrence Crawford is to beat Errol Spence, then what do you say? Hey, Money, how do you come back from it? What are you going to say at that moment?
Instead of half-stepping to Money, he should have asked himself when he was smitten looking into Crawford's eyes, if Crawford is lying to me about signing the contract and the fight doesn't happen, what is my content gonna be about? Because that is the actual situation that played out. The channel has now devolved to a mixture of damage control and condescending rhetoric towards black people. This situation was truly insidious. That's all I got for y'all. And remember, you can play games, but you can't play boxing. Or the boxing community. Like and sub to MacWorld for more boxing game. I'm out.